You know what they say, faith without works is dead. Today's story is sad, but it's true. But instead of crying over spilled milk, I'm going to use this story to tell you what you should be doing during the wait of aligning your desires with manifestation. There you are. Thank you so much for joining. You are listening to the Manifest on Purpose show. I am your host, Kimbaley. I am here to help you evolve to the person you would like to become. And we do that right here on the Manifest on Purpose show. Thank you so much for taking your time to spend it with us today. Thank you for those of you who have invited people to join as well. And thank you for subscribing here and on the website at Kimbaley.com. That is KIMBALEY.com. And you know how I feel about you. The God in me loves the God in you. And I said that with a big hug today. I hope you felt that. Today, I'm going to give you another big hug because I'm going to tell you a story that was a little bit painful for me. However, it taught me something that I can share with you. We're going to jump into that, and you know that's the part that I love. But before we get there, we need some guidance for today. We're going to hear our Astro-Numerology forecast courtesy of Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. It is Wednesday, August the 28th. Sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Cancer. Mercury retrograde ends today. Let's have a celebration. It's a 7 universal month, an 11 universal week, and an 8 universal day. Whatever business related matters or moves you make today should be taken with a degree of caution. Not that you have to be overly cautious, but keep in mind that those you deal with may not be as honest with you as you are with them. This is especially true when it comes to the advice you seek, and in particular for those who fall under the sign of Capricorn, Aquarius, Libra, and those born on the 8th, the 17th, the 26th of any month. Need to keep this especially in mind. Once again, this is our Astro-Numerology report courtesy of Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn. And just a reminder, because Mercury is going direct, it does not mean that you're out of the woods yet. There is still a 2-week shadow period. So make sure that you're still being cautious for 2 extra weeks. This report is courtesy of Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. You can find that app to get your forecast every day and to learn some interesting things about yourself. Go to astar8.com. That is ASTAR, the number 8.com. You can also get it on Google Play or the App Store, or by going to Linktree/numbers in you. And on that site, you have access to his other exclusive services and products, including the free monthly newsletter. So make sure that you check that out. As stated earlier, I'm going to be discussing today what you can be doing while you are waiting to align with your manifestation. One thing that can really help you is knowing the cycles that you are in in your life? Numerically, what cycle are you going through right now? And what is that cycle asking you to do? This is very important because sometimes we just see it as a shift in our lifestyle or a shift in the way that we're thinking when we really don't know that it's a cycle that we're in and there's something that we should be learning from that cycle. You can determine what your cycles are by getting in tune with your numerical cycles. You can get your yearly forecast. We're approaching a new year. What are you to expect for next year? And what should you be learning next year? That's the yearly forecast. You can also get a personal report which tells you who you are. This is especially helpful when you're going through challenging situations, and a compatibility report is equally important when you're going through challenges with the people that are around you, or you just want to know who that person is so that you can build a better relationship with them. And if you want to get deeper, I mean, you really want to dig deeper into your astro-numerology chart, you should book a consultation with me. You can book that consultation at Kimbaley.com. That's KIMBALEY.com. And that's also where you'll find all of these reports. Now, let's get back to this story. Daddy could sell salt to a slug. It didn't matter who he was selling it to. Building a barn for my home was the last thing I was thinking about until my dad cleverly started talking about the benefits of having a barn sitting on my living room couch. I did notice that some of the benefits he was boasting about catered to some of my needs. I thought, okay, I had enough faith to know that if there were ever anything to be built, Daddy could do it. Before I could think too much about it, Daddy started pricing the material and supplies needed to build that barn. It was his suggestion to build a large barn. And of course, you know my daddy, he had to include his fee, which always started as, "I'm only charging you." Then he'd give me the total. It never sounded like a discount. He mentioned he would get started right away as soon as he took me out to survey where I wanted the barn to be constructed. It was my faith in him that enabled me to give him most of his fee up front. With that, he bid me farewell and promised to be back the next day. And he did that as promised. He worked hard that day, too. By the end of the day, the foundation was well underway. I was getting more excited. He bid me farewell for that day, but he promised he'd be back bright and early the next morning. Now, I just want to give you a little backstory on my dad. He separated from my mother early in life. He was not active in our life, but we did spend time with his mother and the rest of his family. Every now and then, we would see him when we were visiting, but it was not like we really spent a lot of time together, if that makes sense. Daddy would also disappear at times. There were many years where nobody knew where he was at all, not us or his family. This is just to say, my dad and I rekindled our relationship in my adulthood. No matter what anyone ever said about him, I had faith in my dad. I didn't know that he had a dark side, though. It didn't take long to find that out. My mom used to tell me, one day you find out on your own. The second day that he was due to return to the barn project is when I saw it for myself. I now know what my mother meant, and I had all the respect in the world for her. Daddy didn't return that day, or the next day, or the next day. And neither did he call. This put me in a sticky situation because, as I said before, no matter what anyone ever told me about my father, I always stood up for him and I always had faith that he would do the right thing. But this time, he didn't. And it left me holding the bill. After some time of not being able to contact him to find out what was going on, I confided in a family member that was close to both of us. And as advised by that family member, I took action to try to recoup my money. However, I discovered that my dad was just as elusive then as he was all those years ago. To make this long story short, my dad and I did not speak for 6 years. I know that sounds like a long time, and I held on from it for too long. I learned that lesson too, but that's another story. It wasn't that we didn't see each other, because there were times where we were sharing the same space in visiting situations, and I refused to speak to him for the longest amount of time. That lesson taught me that forgiveness is for me. One day, as I was riding along the highway, he passed right by me and he waved. And I decided that day that I would wave back. From that point on, we began slowly but surely building a relationship with each other. And I guess you should know, Daddy didn't even discuss what happened all of those years ago, nor did he apologize. We just let that wash right up under the bridge. From that point on, our relationship lasted until his death. I mean, after all, I felt that no one was better than my daddy. There was a time that I had all the faith in the world in this man. But what I learned from that experience is faith without works is dead. On a personal level, this story was a little deep for me. In fact, the reason why I'm posting this late is because I had to think so much about releasing this one because it's such an intimate moment in my life, and I was deciding whether or not I should share. This is the reason why I decided to share. I decided to share because I feel that I'm not the only one that has been through a situation like this. And there may be someone who needs to hear something like this to help them move through something that they're going through. Holding on to what others have done to you can hinder your alignment with your manifestation. It is important to know for your benefit, forgive and move on. Forgiveness is never for that other person. Forgiveness is for you. All of the experiences that I have been through in my life, and as you can hear from the show, there has been many, but the way that I have been able to get through all of these things is because I know that what I go through is not just for me, it's for other people so that they can grow in their lives when going through some of the similar things that I have been in. Now, I'm going to get off that because I want to talk about faith without works is dead. There used to be a very hot topic in the manifestation community, and the topic is all about work. When you're working to manifest something, or as I say it, when you're working to align your desire with manifestation, should you be doing work? Because a lot of people say you should put in the work, and some people say you don't have to put in the work. So today I'm going to address that, and I address that through this story that faith without works is dead. As I said, I had all the faith in the world in my father, but faith did not build that barn. Faith left a partial foundation at my home. Now, this is the question that I'm asking you. Are there partial foundations in your life? And when I say partial foundations, I'm talking about those intentions that you have set that it's been a long time and you're not seeing any fruit. You're probably wondering to yourself, what's really going on? And it will be that way specifically if you are under the impression that just by setting an intention is going to bring you what you want into your life. Or just setting an intention is going to attract something to you. It's more than that. My belief is that you do have to work. It may not be hard physical labor, but you do have to do some work to align with your manifestation. And today I'm going to share with you the type of things that you need to do to ensure that you align with your manifestation. And the very first thing that I want to talk about is something that everybody has, but has to be discovered for themselves. And that is purpose. Without purpose, there's no intention. Without purpose in your life, there is no direction. Let's just think about this. You decide that you want to take a ride out. You go out to your car, but you don't know where you want to go. There's no purpose for you driving out. So, what are you going to do? Just wander around all day? You need a purpose in your life. That purpose is going to be the driving force to help you align with everything that you need to complete that purpose. That purpose is going to be your motivation, because if you have no purpose for it, why are you really doing it in the first place? So, the very first thing you need to work on is your purpose. What is your purpose in life? What gives you meaning? Why are you here? Why are you doing the things that you do? Once you discover your purpose, then you can move forward to the next step of setting your intentions. And I hope that you're taking notes, because these are some of the things that you will need for manifestation. And I'm talking about this in a large scale, but also think about it on a small scale. And what that means is, yes, the large scale is you have a purpose for this lifetime, but the small scale could be your purpose for this intention that you're setting now. Each and every intention has to have a purpose that drives it. So that's important. Moving on is setting of the intentions. Now, if you don't have a purpose, you really can't set intentions. So you can't even get to step 2 if you have not first completed step 1. Step 2 is setting your intentions. And when you set your intentions, this is not something that should be done in haste. This is something that you should sit down and think about. This is time where you need to be in solitude and you need to be focused on that purpose that we talked about in number 1. When you focus on that purpose, what are the things that you would like to see come from your purpose? What are those things you want to manifest according to that purpose that you have set? You also need to be clear about that, and you need to make sure that it's exactly what you want. Some people are changeable. Some people may want to manifest something one day, and then the next day they may want something different. You need to be sure that each and every intention that you set is solid, is something that you know you really want, because you're going to be doing some work on these intentions too. Because as I told you about your intentions, you have to have specific intentions. Now you need to be thinking about exactly what it is that you want, down to the color. If it's a car, the make and the model, you should get very detailed in this section. It's just like you're painting a picture. When you're done with that picture, does it look exactly like what you want? And you have to do that by making sure that you paint the picture exactly the way that you want to. So this should take some time. This takes work. And now that you have these intentions set, it's not time to relax. There's still work to be done. At this stage in the process, you need to be aligning with those intentions. This is more work. Well, once again, you won't get your hands dirty. You're just aligning with those desires that you have. Here's one example of alignment. A lot of people say that they want to manifest a large sum of money. The question is, what are you doing to get to that point? And it's not meaning that it has to be something physical, but sometimes it is something physical. The most important thing that you should be doing first is mentally preparing yourself for that amount of money. I once heard of a story of a young lady that hit the lottery for over $200 million. Before she hit the lottery, she never had this type of money at all, nothing close to it. But when the money came, it just seemed as if she started spending it so much. And by the end of the story, the woman had gone through most of the money. It was directly a result of her mindset around money. What I'm getting at is to align with that intention of manifesting that money in your life. You need to first work on your money mindset. You need to first think about the amount of money that you're asking for and determine how would you spend that money. You would need to determine, is this the sufficient amount of money that you are requesting from the universe, God, source, or creator? First, get your mind right around that amount of money and how it's going to come to you. Take off the limitations in your mind, and this is something that takes time. As I said, faith without works is dead. On a physical level, with this intention of attracting this money into your life, you can open up the door of the opportunity for yourself by creating multiple vehicles, multiple ways that this money can come into you. Some people may be stuck on getting it one way, but there could be other ways that you have not explored because your mindset is too limited when it comes to money. So those are the things that you should be doing to align with it. Once you align with what you want, there's still more work to be done. In this step, it doesn't matter what your intention is. What matters is that you are placing yourself in position to align with what you want. Meaning, if you want to be a supervisor on your job, make sure that you're learning the duties and responsibilities of being a supervisor. If your intentions is a home, make sure that you know everything that needs to be known about making that big real estate purchase and where you want it to be at. Put yourself in position. I told you, it's going to be work, so you can roll up your sleeves. The next thing that you need to be doing is you need to be sowing seeds. If you're one of the ones that like to hold a tight fist, always remember this. Sometimes your fist can be closed so much that nothing can get out, but nothing will be able to get back in. Remember Hansel and Gretel? They used the breadcrumbs to find their way back out of the forest. Now, some people would have looked at that and said, no, I'm not using my breadcrumbs to just throw out. but they knew it was for a bigger purpose. They knew that those breadcrumbs that they let go of was actually what was going to be able to help them. Sowing seeds is one of the most important things that you can be doing on your manifestation journey. In my last conversation, I talked about how important it is to sow seeds. And not only that, I told you what type of seeds you should be sowing. The type of seeds you should be sowing should be related to what you're trying to attract in your life. So, on this journey, while you're already aligning with what you want, make sure you drop down some seeds. It's something selfless you can do from the heart. And the thing that you should know about it is just like Hansel and Gretel, you never know when those seeds will produce a harvest that can benefit you. It's not all about your benefit, it's about the help of humanity. But in that help for humanity, humanity will pitch in and help you out as well. Which leads directly to the next thing you should be working on. You should be working on letting people or allowing people to return what's been sowed to you. Now, the interesting thing about sowing seeds, just because you sow a seed in a specific place doesn't mean that what you sow is going to come right back the way that you sowed it. Sometimes it comes in ways that are unrecognizable. When these unrecognizable ways come in, you need to learn how to be able to accept it and to be able to say, thank you. Gratitude is very important. Gratitude goes all the way back to the beginning because gratitude starts before the purpose even starts. Gratitude is being grateful for having the purpose in the first place. So, throughout this whole process, you need to maintain a state of gratitude. And the last thing that I'm going to cover, I could talk about this all day, as you can see, but the last thing that I'm going to cover before I end this is the fact of there's still work to be done when the harvest comes in. You have to gather the harvest. You don't see a farmer just looking at the garden talking about how beautiful the harvest is. No, there's still work to be done. They have to take this harvest in. And the most important thing that you need to be knowing during the harvest period is you need to be storing up for the next season. Because as you can see, this is a whole cycle here. It's a continuum. And when I think about the harvest, I can't help but think about animals like the squirrels, how they store their nuts for the winter time because they know that it's going to be a barren season after the harvest comes in. So they collect their harvest and they save it and they put it towards whatever's coming next. They use it for the next cycle of planting seeds, sowing, and manifesting. Mentally, you need to be in that state of gratitude right here. And also, you need to be motivated because you see what you've already done. And that extra motivation just makes the cycle even more easier. You know how that saying goes, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. It's important that you know, no matter what we went through, I love my dad. And even though he had his shadow ways, I had to accept the fact that that was who he was and was able to protect myself from it later on in life. It even helped protect me in other situations like that. So I guess you can say my dad taught me the hard way. But no matter how much love and faith I had in him, when it came to that barn, I found out that faith without works is dead. Manifestation. Should you be working towards your manifestation, or should you be the one that just waits for it to fall in your lap? I guess anything can happen, but guessing is not always good. It's better to have a strategy. If you're looking around in your notebook now or looking around on your vision board and you're seeing intentions that have been there like forever, that has dust on them, and they haven't grown any, then you should be thinking about a strategy, something to help you align with your manifestation. And that strategy begins with the purpose. What is your purpose in life? Your purpose is actually your life's intention. Without that purpose, you have no intention, and you'll just wander around aimlessly, hoping that something will fall in your lap. I don't want you hoping that something falls in your lap. I want you in alignment with your desires. Think of the strategy that I share here today and find out if there's a way you can incorporate that with the things that you want to align with in your life. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You can do it any way that you want to do it. Just make sure that you're adding some of these things that I discuss here today to make you a better candidate for the things that you desire to manifest in your life. I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose.